How can you communicate with authority without sounding stiff or insincere? This is a question an expert sent me via LinkedIn. And the first thing is, forget speaking with authority. Instead, embrace communicating authority. I mean, you are credible, you are the expert, you have your experience, you are the authority. When my clients step into this space, own their authority, everything changes. They become the respected go-to in their niche, they attract fantastic opportunities, and they earn more when they work. My name is Nima. I work with high-level experts who are credible and who know that becoming known and trusted in their niche is the path to their best life, because it means that they fulfill their potential in life instead of watching it drip down the drain and lose out to people who are less qualified but are better at the things I'm taking you through in this video. Right, let's dive in. I'm going to be sharing my screen with you. Let's go. This is the message I got via LinkedIn. The main challenge for me is speaking with authority without coming across as insincere or too stiff, if that makes sense. Yes, it makes absolute sense, because when I see people who are new to this space, new to this way of showing up, well, first of all, you need to put in the reps, but you need to have the tools and the tactics to make it happen properly. Otherwise, you're wasting a lot of time and you're losing out on loads of opportunities. Plus, more importantly, I think, you're embedding an idea of you, a perception of you in people's minds that you're not the authority that you actually are. For me, the most important thing though is that it's the idea of, what is authority? It's not just knowing stuff, it's also having the gravitas to carry yourself and share it in a way that really helps the person who needs your help, so that they think, I can trust you. That's the most amazing thing you can achieve, getting people to trust you. Right, the 3 types of interaction that I'm going to be sharing with you later are high stakes conversations with decision makers. So this could look like you're in a boardroom, you're presenting, you're pitching, you're in a client strategy session, you're speaking to somebody who is going to be making a decision based on what you are sharing, maybe to work with you, hire you, choose you or not. Visibility, high visibility moments. So this could look like you're on a panel, you're on stage, you're on a podcast, you're being interviewed by the media. Yeah, you don't want to get this wrong, because if it's live, you can't change anything. And even if it's recorded, I mean, you're not in control of what actually goes out, what gets cut and what stays. So you want to be able to communicate your authority, without having to go back and fix things later. And the third type of interaction where your authority will play out differently is behind the scenes. Maybe you are consulting, maybe you are being hired as the expert in your field. People are buying your 10,000 hours. Maybe you're mentoring a CEO. So yeah, these are 3 really important types of interactions where you gain so much from communicating authority. Now this is of course assuming that you are credible. If you're not credible, if you don't have the skills, the expertise, the experience, go and get that first. You have no business being here. Just don't bother watching. Right, so what is it that people want from you when they hire you or they speak to you as the expert, the authority in your niche? They want specific output, right? Let's change the color here, shall we? So they want specific output, specific input. They want a solution to their issue, their problem. They want a way forward, guidance. These are really important things. They're hiring you to get this. They want to have this feeling of, we're on the right path. Yay, we made the right decision by hiring you. The 3 things you need in place to make this happen are: you need to be certain. If you're not certain, who's listening? So let me give you an example. Imagine you walk into a doctor's surgery. You have a problem, it's an ongoing thing, maybe it's a pain, maybe it's something, and you want it to go away. And the doctor comes across as, I'm not too sure, I don't know what to do about this. What do I do now? They don't have that gravitas, that credibility, the authority that you can trust. So if they're coming across with, I'm not too sure, versus even if they don't know the answer, but they're certain, do you trust them? Yes, you do, and I'll take you through more on this in a bit. So be certain, so important. Be structured, so people can follow what you're saying and repeat it. There's a lot more to this. I'll come to that in just a minute. And be human. So important. You don't want to come across like a robot, a machine. Be human. And I've broken this down into 3 elements. 1, 2, 3. And this is how you become the authority in your niche. My son has just walked up to me, which is why I looked over there. I don't know if he's going to make a cameo appearance, but anyway. So this is what you want to achieve. How do you do it? The 3 steps are certain, structured, human. Going back to the doctor's example. Imagine you've gone to the doctor and they're saying things like, I think, I'm not too sure, I don't know what to do next. They're asking someone, or it's obvious they don't know what to do. You immediately think, oh, I need to go to another doctor. I need to pay for somebody who's an expert in this. I need to get out of here as quickly as possible. This is making me feel worse. Versus a doctor who shows up as, here's what matters most. The key thing is, what most people miss is, they're sharing things about a process, a sequence of steps, things they're going to be doing with you, perhaps tests, perhaps examinations, whatever it is, to find out facts, and they know how to use that and which step to take next based on what they discover. Now, let's go back to the I think or it might be. If somebody comes across as very sure of themselves, as an authority, it's okay if they say I think or it might be, absolutely, because they're sharing that they don't have all the answers. They have to go through a process, a system, steps to find out the truth, the reality, the results that they're after. So when you are in a situation where you might not know the answers, authority isn't about knowing the answers, it's about the way you carry yourself and having clarity and systems and a way of conveying and sharing trust so that people think, yes, you are the right person. So you don't want to be that doctor, you want to be certain. You do not want to be unsure or hesitant. Okay, so the second thing is that you want to be structured in how you think as well as how you communicate. When you have a structured way of thinking, it really impacts and influences what you share and how you share it. And when you do it well, it helps people follow what you're saying, recall what you said, retain important information, and be able to repeat it in rooms you're not even in. This is how they become your megaphones, your biggest advocates. They do the heavy lifting of convincing people like them that you are the right person. I say heavy lifting because it's heavy lifting if you have to do it from scratch, if it's somebody who's not familiar with you. But when somebody who is already familiar with you and buys into you, trusts you, recommends you, that's a totally different ballgame, isn't it? That's how your authority is amplified and you get more of the right type of people for you in your circle. Now, a really simple way to structure what you're thinking and then communicating is this. Let's change the colour again, shall we, just for a bit of, variety. It is what, so what, now what? What, so what, now what are we talking about here? What's the situation? What are we dealing with? What is this? Say it. So what? Why is it important? Why is it important that we do it this way, that we deal with this specific issue first? You need to share that with the decision maker that you are communicating with, the decision maker whose buy-in you need. Now what? What can we do about this? How can we process this? What's the next step that needs to happen? So I like this really simple structure, what, so what, now what, because the words act as your prompt. What we're doing here today is, this is important because this is what we need to do next. Another way you can structure things is this one here. Here's the problem, state it. Here's what's actually going on, what is it? Here's what I do because you are the expert, the authority, you're the person that people are turning to for the solution for the next step. So these two, I mean, they kind of mirror each other, don't they? But they're just easy for you to embed in your mind. I like what, so what, now what, because it just has a really easy cadence and rhythm to it. But here's the problem, here's what is actually going on, here's what I do is a great one too. Now, all of this comes from something I call being the CEO of Credible You. I see so many fantastic experts, people with brilliant brains, ideas, minds, lose out big time because they don't take ownership of their credibility. They don't own their expertise and experience. And what I mean by that is this: if you expect people to find you, hello, that's not going to happen in your lifetime. If it does, you're going to be very lucky. But more importantly, you've lost out on so many other opportunities because nobody knows you exist, or nobody knows that you exist to help them with this specific thing. Taking ownership of your credibility means that you share what you know and do in a way that means that the right person for you pays attention, wants more from you, and gets in touch when it's the right time for them to hire you for your expertise and experience. And this is important whether you work for yourself or in the corporate world. If you work for yourself, it's the route to your best type of client, more pay, fantastic opportunities, and the same thing applies when you work in the corporate world. It is the path to better opportunities internally, externally, and being paid more. So it is about how you show up and share what you know and do, and it really comes from this deep-rooted belief that you are responsible for your success and your opportunities. You are responsible, right? That's what gives you money, options, dignity, freedom. And just on this point of dignity, I mean, wow, what is going on in the world these days? A couple of people who work with me, I'll just refer to them. One of them is a high-flying expert who left her corporate career because, well, many reasons. She didn't want the job that they were offering her. There was things changed. Plus, she was fed up having to shut up about issues like what's happening to Palestinians being murdered. She stepped away. We've been working together so that she gets to own her self and voice, credibility, authority. She feels fantastic because, in her words, she is not sugarcoating issues anymore. She is not bullshitting, sidestepping. The next opportunity for her, right now she is consulting, and she believes that she wants to step into a new corporate role, the right corporate role. But whether she stays working for herself or she gets another new corporate role, the people she's working with, they're going to be the right people for her, the right fit, because they're going to share her values, because she's showing up as her true, full self. And this is what I mean, one of the things I mean about dignity. If you don't have the dignity to say no to situations that are rubbish, if you don't have the ability to walk away from something bad, you don't have freedom, and you don't have dignity, you don't have options. So yeah, becoming the CEO of Credible You, taking ownership of your expertise, experience, authority, all these good things. Good things come from this. Do it. Okay. Now, the third thing is be human while you're doing it. I've broken this down into 3 elements. The first one is so important. When you communicate and speak and share from your lived experience at the top, at the start, not from Googleable information. When I used to interview people on TV, I used to present a BBC World programme that got in front of 200 million people. And the experts who started with Googleable information, stuff that you can just look up online, they didn't get invited back. And that information got cut if we could find a better piece to start with. And that's what I train people to do. It's about how you start. How you start is so crucial, because it dictates whether people stay paying attention to you, want to know more from you, will light up when your name comes up in conversation, or they see your name in print. You're going to be on stage or presenting or speaking or on a podcast. You need to start with your lived experience. You need to start with something that is not Googleable, something that isn't something that AI can conjure up. When you do this, people want more from you. I want more from you in my role as a journalist. If I am moderating a panel discussion on stage, for example, the people who give me Googleable information, boring stuff I can look up online, they got sidelined. And the way I did this was, what I do is I sum up pertinent, interesting points that I want to plant and stick in people's minds, in the audience's minds. And of course, it's on the back of me having done a lot of research and knowing a lot about what we were discussing. If somebody gave Googleable, generic information, I wouldn't cite that. I wouldn't refer to the person. I wouldn't bring it up. People who gave us things like their gut, their instinct, what they take away from the situation that's going on, they are the ones who got repeated by me, who got planted in people's minds. They're the ones who people remember and will invite back. And I want this for you, because you actually know this stuff, but you haven't been trained to bring it up and start with it. Anyone can Google information. Anyone can do an online search. Ask AI. What I want you to embrace is starting sentences with this, for example. What I've seen time and again is, and it's your expertise, your gut, your instinct. In whatever situation it is, your expertise, what works is this every time. So again, it's demonstrating that you are a doer, you're in this, you're not just a theoretical person. The biggest mistake is, such a simple set of words, powerful, very powerful. People want to know that, the answer to that. The thing most people get wrong, misunderstand, don't realize is, all these things, to complete the sentence, you need to have expertise, experience, track record, results, you see, and that's what you want to bring in straight away. And this is the most direct way of doing it. When I worked with a client who had this problem, this got us the best result. State the obvious. It's obvious to you, it's not obvious to them. Bring up, I'd call this a credibility statement that proves that you are knowledgeable, trusted, you do the work, and you get the results. The people who recycle words that are often used, so for example, it could be trending words, in words, AI. You know, AI is doing the rounds, isn't it? And you've got two camps, I'm really simplifying. You've got the people who say, if you're not using AI, you're going to lose out, you're going to lose your job, you're going to lose. And the other camp says, if you're using AI, be really careful. You don't want to outsource everything to AI. But it's really surface level stuff. It doesn't tell you anything. There's no depth to it. So what you want to do instead is you want to go for the depth, the insight, the why is this important? And you know, there's a fantastic litmus test, a way for you to know whether you're doing it right or not. And it's this: if someone else can start with it or say it, don't. You want your spin, your take, your stamp. This is me, this is what I know to be true, this is what I can do for you. You want to sound like the expert who's done it, been there, experienced it, can be trusted. Yeah, so important. It's really interesting because I find that people, and the really clever ones, they have the biggest problem with this. They, instead of going for this, your spin, your take, your insight, and interesting people straight out the gate with the first thing they say, they kind of like go into this big step back and they start becoming very academic about it, or give background and buffer stuff, the Googleable stuff. Don't do that, cut to the chase. It's usually the third or even fifth sentence that you say if you're in your default mode of communication. So it's the stuff that you say in about 5 sentences in, you know. And this is important because, bam, say it. The biggest thing that people do that's wrong is, the thing that this costs them is, yeah. Number 2 under be human is, drop the jargon. Drop the jargon. You know, I say to people ask me, what do you do? I do 2 things. I simplify the complex and I state the obvious. That's really been the core of every role I've had, whether it's on TV, simplifying really complex stories into ways, giving example stories, a way for people to understand what's going on in a way that resonates with them. If I'm on stage, it's the same thing. I've always been the person who simplifies complex issues and states the obvious. It's only obvious in hindsight. Your job is to do this too. It's an important thing. Nobody teaches you how to do this. I can teach you. By the way, if you want my help with any of this, click on the link below. Time goes one way. Do you want to fulfill your life's potential, or do you want to just sit on the sidelines and watch other people do stuff and you go, that's not fair, or you go, that's not right? Okay, drop the jargon. Clarity versus complexity. Guess who wins? Clarity. Make the complex clear. This is what decision makers need. They don't need more information. They need a way forward. And in fact, if you think about it, what a decision really wants is, they don't want chaos, extra info, buzzwords. No, thank you. They want a simple route to how to make the best decision. A simple route to how to make the best decision. Sometimes the best decision in the moment turns out to be the wrong decision, but if you can back it up and if you are the person that they trust, it's okay, they forgive you. Plus you all learn from it, so that the next time the thing happens, you get to the right decision faster again. This is the kind of thing that you could say if you're in these situations. Here's the real reason this fails. Let me break this down. So again, if we go back, this is about dropping the jargon, embracing clarity, simplifying the complex. So when you start with these sorts of sentences, you automatically get rid of buzzwords. You automatically cut to the chase and get to the number of issues. If you want A, we need to do B. Here is why. They're all listening. They're all waiting for what you're going to say next. Okay. And the third point under Be Human is about how you speak what you are going to say or share. How you say things is so important. Let me make this point though. If what you're saying is rubbish, maybe you get people's attention because you say it in a very wow way, but actually when they think about it or reflect on it, or when the moment has passed, they realize that was useless. Don't be that person. I'm outside obviously, and there's going to be things happening. It's okay. I'm not going to edit any of this out. It is what it is. And in fact, this is part of what I want you to embrace. It's the idea of forget perfection. It doesn't exist. Follow the path that enables you to get things done and become the known, trusted, expert, authority in your niche. If you want my help again, I'd love to work with you. I love doing these sorts of things. Like, what's your best medium for sharing what you know to be true? How can you be comfortable now? What shall we work on for later? Speak. How are you going to speak what you know and do? How are you going to speak what you say? It includes how do you use your voice, pacing, pausing, giving space for specific information to sink in. It's also about things like dropping your tone when there's something critical. It takes guts to slow down, to take ownership of the moment, and to stand your ground. No, this is the wrong thing. Don't put my name to that. Silence, but with a low tone. And I find that the more comfortable people are, the better they just do it by default. You start speaking quickly and at a higher pitch when you are racing, trying to prove, making sure they don't get bored and stop listening. Forget that. Speak more slowly. Use short sentences. One thought at a time. Enunciate clearly. You do not want people asking you what you're saying. And think back to that doctor. If that doctor is mumbling or not clear, that's stressful, isn't it? It's stressful for you because you're trying to deal with the situation, plus you're trying to decipher what they're saying. It's just too much. When you start practicing enunciating, you will exaggerate your movements, use your whole mouth, use your face, your muscles. But the more you do this, the more natural it'll seem, not because you're still doing it, but because you'll automatically go into, I am making a point here that's really important, and it's very critical that people can hear what I'm saying and understand the importance of it, the gravity of it. Silence is so key. Silence brings people's attention back to something when it's used well. If you use it randomly or like it doesn't belong there, you lose trust fast because the next sentence has to count. If the next word, sentence, idea after silence isn't key, people stop listening to you. Here we go. People listen more when you don't rush to fill space. This is something I used to do, and I still find myself doing it occasionally. It's the idea of rushing, getting everything out quickly. Partly is because my brain is working faster than my mouth, but that's something I need to take ownership of and control of. Plus, I realized years ago that even though I know a shitload of stuff and I can really help people, I would sometimes frame my own self with myself as, this isn't really important. Excuse me, it is so important. I mean, imagine, it doesn't matter how much knowledge you have, how many ideas you have, if you can't communicate them in the right way, in the way that gets buy-in from the person who's going to say yes and change your life, you lose out. Own what you're saying. This is a note to me as well as you. All right. So really, this is all about how to communicate authority. Communicate authority. And sometimes that happens, and it can happen, without you opening your mouth or saying a word. Just your presence, the energy, the vibe that you give off. The feeling that people can really depend on you, can turn to you. To make this happen, you have to be comfortable with how you show up, with what you're sharing, with how you will be when you're sharing it. So important. When you are comfortable and you are a great communicator, and what I mean by that is you know which words to use to suit the occasion, the stakeholder, what's at stake. You know how to hook and get interest straight out the gate with the first thing you say. You know how to keep people interested. You know how to influence a next step, a decision, a result. Wow. Everybody's listening. You have the gravitas, you have the presence, you have the authority, you have the trust. Let's go through a few scenarios where an expert like you needs to show up with authority. What does that look like? Okay, the first one is high stakes conversations with decision makers, and it could be in the boardroom, with investors, with clients. Your role here is you're not just informing, no, you are guiding outcomes. You're guiding outcomes. Authority here means clarity, decisiveness, zero fluff. It's not always about having the right answer, about how you convey your knowledge and ability and expertise. These are examples of how you can share what you know and do, how you can communicate. You can say things like, here's what's driving this issue. If you do X, you need to prepare for this ripple effect. What you're doing here is you are connecting micro details to strategic consequences. The people I loved on my TV program, the people I love communicating with, interacting with, interviewing on stage are people who do this. They connect things. It could be a global issue with their specific niche, the thing that's happening. It could be something that's been said in the room, something that's on people's minds. When I train people, I get them to look at headlines, what's going on in the bigger picture around the world, in their niche, with studies that come out in areas that are related to what they do, or just literally, generally, the headlines, the world's headlines. And they can connect what they do to something going on globally a lot of the time, because it's about the impact of something. If we do this, then that other thing over there, it gets better. If we do this, then wow, these things change. When you are able to connect things, you become so much more than just an expert. And always lead with conviction. What you don't want to do is you do not want to over-explain. Do not over-explain. You lose people. You do not want to prove your knowledge. There's a difference between being knowledgeable, you are it, you are the authority, and proving it. It's a turn off, and people again switch off, they're not listening. You do not want to seek validation, and you do not want to share your credentials. higher up the ladder you go in terms of trust and authority, it's a default thing. People come to you, right? So you don't need to remind them, oh, by the way, thank you for coming to me because you do know I have this and you do not have that. No. Okay, number 2 interaction is visibility moments, high visibility moments. It could be panels, media interviews, podcasts. What's your role as the authority? All right, you are a signal that says, this is important and here is why. This is important, here's why. These are the people I had on repeat on my TV programs. Really important. It means you're sharing your opinion, insight, your take on things. Remember, it's not the Googleable information, the stuff that anybody can say, it's what you can say, your stake in the ground. This is me, your stamp. Yeah. And I've already said this, if they were a speaker, it's their insight is what I would repeat and embed in people's minds. You see, the thing is that you want to be remembered, not just heard. You want to be remembered, you want to be repeated, you want to be quoted, wow, and to be quoted with a catchphrase that you own. That's another level. People become your megaphone, your advocates. What you want is strong, specific language. This is how you make this happen. You're not wishy-washy. Strong, specific conviction. The biggest myth, call out the elephant. I've seen brilliant experts lose millions, or companies or whatever it is, whoever your client is, because they ignore this one thing. What is it? Everybody's listening. You do not want to overload people with information and data. You want to use the minimum needed to get a point across, the minimum needed. And this is key. Don't soften your insights for mass appeal. You don't want to hedge your bets and go, oh, you know, I'll sugarcoat it. I'll say it this way. I'll soften it. No, the more specific and pushy away you are, pushing away the wrong people, the better your results, because you'll attract the right people for you, and they are the perfect people for you to be working with, whether you work for yourself or somebody else. It could be a client, it could be a company, a new boss. Do not soften your stance. And the third type of interaction where you could be showing up as the authority is behind the scenes. You're consulting, you are mentoring, you're doing work that's discreet. What's your role as the authority? It really is earned trust. You are the mind they rely on. They want to turn to you. They want your guidance, your insight, your input, your discretion. What does this look like? So here's what you could say. I've seen this go wrong before. Here's what we'll do differently. Oh, thank you. This is what I need. Let's simplify this to what actually matters. Yes, please, they're all thinking. Let's do this. So the really key role you have here is pattern recognition, foresight, and calm clarity. Pattern recognition comes, and the foresight, and the calm clarity, they all come from putting in the reps, from being the real deal, from having the expertise, the experience, the exposure to all of these types of situations, either a situation or a person, a thing. You develop your own way of approaching it, your own system and steps, and you share it in a way that people can grasp onto and feel really great about when you are a brilliant communicator. And again, own your position. You want long-term influence. That's gold. You want to be grounded. You're sure, you're certain, you know what you're on about. You're not proving, having to react. Name the truth. Name the truth. Call out the elephant. Yeah, you want to be the strategic mind that people look to, call, seek out, want more of. What you don't want to do, again, is to dilute what you know to be true because you want to avoid conflict or to be liked. No, no, no. Even if it costs you the job, the role that you're in, don't do it. So there you have it. There you have it. This is how you communicate authority. Now, of course, you know that you only get one chance at this. One chance. If you mess it up, they're not going to call you back. So how can you gain people's trust immediately and speak like the expert you really are? Well, watch this. I'll put it over here. Watch this video next to find out. Plus, if you want my help with this, click on the link below. You get one life, one chance at all this. Let's make it happen for you. Yeah? I'll see you in the next video. Bye.